This is Glenda bringing you health news, crafts, fun or funny stuff at aka GK Fralin. Okay, today we're going to talk about heat exhaustion. It's very prevalent this time of year. Okay, heat exhaustion can occur whenever you're exposed to extreme heat. It can happen inside factories. It can happen outside on very hot days. It's not funny, it's not fun, and it's not necessary. Okay, there's two types. There's water depletion, and that can bring on weakness and a headache, get hydrated, and salt depletion. Now, heat exhaustion. But anyway, and the signs for that can also include nausea and vomiting, muscle cramps, and dizziness. Okay, symptoms of heat exhaustion. Okay, this will be in here again. Confusion, dark colored urine. That's a definite sign of dehydration. Dizziness, fainting, fatigue, headache, muscle and abdominal cramps, nausea, vomiting and or diarrhea, pale skin, profuse sweating, and rapid heartbeat. What you can do to avoid it is drink plenty of fluids and avoid caffeine and alcohol. Those can both dehydrate you quickly. Here, farmers tend to like to, especially during haying season, they like to take beer out to the fields. Problem is, once you drink that beer, it seems very, very quenching, but it also puts alcohol in the body, and alcohol evaporates quickly. Remove tight or unnecessary clothing. Take a cool shower or a bath or a sponge bath if you start feeling overheated or you start getting the dark urine. And then another way of cooling off are fans and ice and towels. Iced towels. If those things don't work, within like 15 minutes, you are suffering heat exhaustion. It can progress, it can get worse. The body temperature rises, and once you've recovered, you're going to be more prone. My husband had heat exhaustion once, and he is now more sensitive to heat than he once was. So he does take Gatorade with him now if he's going to be out too long. Or he gets inside his shop and gets a little bit of, with air going through it, and gets out of the sun. Risk factors, watch your heat index. We have a very good system here with like our weather channels and stuff, but if you're not watching the weather channel, generally you have it on your computer. You have access to it on your computer. But your heat index will be referred to, and it will include things like the temperature as well as the humidity and cloud cover, things like that. That will, and a relative humidity of 60% or more hampers sweat and evaporation. It also hampers people with COPD. I don't like to go much over 50% humidity when I go outside. So, if the temperature index is getting over 90 degrees, you want to be, people go outside in 90 degrees a lot, but please be very cognizant of keeping liquids with you, and if you need to, get in the shade or the air conditioning. Okay, Who suffers? A lot of times runners. And if they're an experienced runner, they will know if they start getting cramps in their legs or stomach, they need to stop and hydrate. Most of them will stop and hydrate frequently anyway. Oh, don't do this to me. It's popping up something here. Enduring something that's prolonged, and if the atmosphere is just kind of stagnant, there's no breeze, not much of a breeze or not much moving air to help cool you down, then you can get that heat that just, have you ever been on hot concrete or hot asphalt? Yike. Because it just kind of pools in those kinds of materials. Okay, and there's other risk factors. Age. Infants, we know, are very prone to heat. Don't leave an infant in a car. Don't leave an infant in a car. Or young children. Any child who's not able to get out of that vehicle by themselves and get cooled off, or unlock the door and at least roll down a window by themselves, they shouldn't be in that car, when they're under a certain age anyway, because it's just risky. Adults over 65. Now, it depends on the adult, but let's just go with that. Adults over 65 can be very vulnerable because they just don't recover as quickly. Heat conditions, or certain health conditions such as heart, lung, or kidney disease. I've got lung disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, mental illness, sickle cell traits, alcoholism, sunburn. Those kinds of things are very prone. If you've got sunburn, you don't sweat as easily because you're already dehydrated. That's why the skin is burned. And if you have a mental illness, the reason that's mentioned is because a lot of the medications that are prescribed for mental health they dry you out. I take anti-anxiety medications and stuff for my bipolar. I'm always, you'll notice I grab for my mug once in a while, because even if I'm on camera, because my mouth suddenly just goes very dry. Okay, so that kind of covers the medications as well, because if you have that, chances are you're taking medication for it. In heat exhaustion symptoms, well, okay, we went over the symptoms earlier, but wear lightweight and light colored clothing. Don't wear black. Black absorbs the heat. You want something that's going to reflect the heat. Wear white, light tan, khaki, those kind of colors. And, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, that tends to shade you, especially if it's kind of a straw-type hat. Your grandma used to wear one for a reason. And so did your grandpa out on the farm. My grandpa out on the farm. They would wear those straw, broad-brimmed hats because it blocked the sun. And it offers shade as well as it lets, air through it. But if you're wearing things like knit caps, if you're getting hot under the baseball cap, if you're wearing a fleece hoodie, get rid of those things. I don't care what the style is in your area, or if you're just trying to hide a bald head, get them off your head, because your heat needs to escape. Use sunscreen. Drink a lot of extra fluids. You need to keep those fluids in your system, because dehydration is one of the symptoms, or one of the things that happen from heat exhaustion that is just not necessary, and it can cause electrolyte imbalance, which electrolytes are like they're things in your body that keep your body working right. It's minerals and vitamins and stuff that just they keep your heart working, they keep all those systems running, and you need them. Let's just say you need them, so get them. And ask your doctor what the best types of fluids are. It's good to have Gatorade and Powerade or something like that. They do have electrolyte water now. Have that, if you're going to be out for a long time in the heat, definitely have water with you. In moderate to high temperatures, you want to drink 17 to 20 ounces, according to WebMD here, of fluid every 2 to 3 hours. And you want to do that before exercise. If you're going to go to strenuous yoga class or go for a run, at least 2 to 3 hours beforehand, you want to drink at least 17 to 20 ounces of fluid. That isn't that hard to do. At least it isn't for me. But you must keep drinking if you're out there exercising a lot. Stay away from that caffeine again. Stay away from it. It's not a good deal. Okay, and if you do experience dark-colored urine, you're getting dizzy, any of those symptoms I mentioned way back, I'm trying to find the bottom of my page here. Okay. There is going to be a time, if you start getting confused, then you get inside before it gets any worse. If you are around an elderly person, an infant, somebody, or even a coworker, this stuff is notorious in factories, guys. If you're around a coworker and they start showing signs of confusion and exhaustion, get them cooled down. That's often a part of first aid training. Get cold or iced towels on them, get cold fluids in them, but get them cooled down. And then get them to the doctor or the hospital. Especially if you start vomiting, have diarrhea, those things are even more prone to causing even more dehydration. So, I can't tell you enough. Watch out for yourselves in the summertime. Temperatures can change very quickly in some areas of the world, including here, especially in the spring and the fall. We can go from 70 degrees to, in the afternoon, 100. And that's not exactly an exaggeration, folks. But it's not as frequently as going from 70 to 90, but that's still significant. That's 20 degrees within a few hours' time. And that's not so uncommon here. So, doggone it, take care of yourselves. Now, I don't know, but I'm always having to trim some of this stuff in order to keep it within the time crunch. But I love you. I care about you. And tomorrow's another day, and I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching.